Do not call conspiracy what these people call conspiracy.
The eyes of the nation are on Minneapolis.
On the neck of Black America.
Everybody I'm talking to is frustrated.
These wicked, evil pagans call conspiracy.
Re-triggered, re-traumatized.
Do not fear what they fear, but fear God. Were many churches practicing that verse from Isaiah in 2020 when George Floyd died from an overdose?
We ask for forgiveness from our black brothers and sisters.
Or did they welcome with open arms such programs as Be the Bridge, which is Marxist?
To empower people and culture toward racial healing, equity, and reconciliation.
Did they not dip and dabble with liberation theology and critical race theory? I remember Matt Chandler, God bless him. He says if he had two candidates before him to become an associate pastor at his church, one was black, one was white, and the black candidate met 70% of the standards that we're looking for in a pastor, and the white guy had 80 or 90%, he's going to choose the black guy.
One of the firms that's helping us find men said, let me ask you a question, Pastor Matt. If we find an Anglo 8 and an African-American 7, which one do you want? I said, I want the African-American 7.
He said this before people even knew what DEI was. We saw many churches doing this exact same thing throughout 2020 and in the years leading up to it. We heard Tim Keller, the late Tim Keller, he said something of the effect that whenever white churches talk about racial reconciliation, what they're saying is they want black folks to act white.
Very often what it means to say we want to have a multiracial church is we want everybody to become white, culturally white, act white, think white, make decisions like white people.
This is foolish rhetoric. I'm not trying to single Tim Keller out. What I'm trying to tell you all is that we saw a lot of this rhetoric coming from many churches during 2020 as a result of George Floyd. This, my friends, is an example of churches not taking heed to the message given to God's people. Do not call conspiracy what these wicked people call conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear, but fear God. Why would God say such a thing? When you call conspiracy what they call conspiracy, you are more inclined to adopt and to adhere to their regimen of how to fix said thing, of how to respond to said conspiracy. When you fear what they fear, as opposed to fearing God, you are more likely to adopt and to acquiesce and to vote for and to support the candidates, the policies, the regulations that they are putting forth. And again, I'm not trying to rehash this. I'm giving you all an example of what happens when we, the people of God, fear what they fear rather than being unapologetically fearful of no one other than God. Because when we do that, that puts us in a position where we operate with discernment and wisdom and not out of fear of man or what man fears, and thus get mixed up and involved in laying the bricks of a Tower of Babel. We're not called to build the Tower of Babel, my friends.